Welcome, Construction Sport HQ. Little roundup from this week. We've been out and about over the last week to 10 days. We had a big event in Clerkenwell in London with thanks to Solus, a ceramics manufacturer, ceramic supplier in London. It was great crack. Mr. Frank Bruno was part of the day, or the evening, should we say. Over 100 people in the room. Really engaging audience, a lot of people there. Multiple kind of job roles in there, from tilers up to main contracting directors and that kind of level of people. Big thank you to them. And then this week, those guys are doing a Scare Electrics competition, which looks like a lot of fun. We'll send some photos over. But something we're going to hear a lot more of this year. It's more than ever, I think, we're seeing now. Fatalities on construction sites again. Suicides to one side, we know how bad they are as well as, but even more, these incidents on site where people are actually dying on site is quite out of control. There's been a fatal accident on a Langer Rorke's building site in Oxford. Langer Rorke's, I know, have had one just the end of last year. They also had one 3 or 4 months ago at Everton Football Club. I put a post up about it this week, and I've got nothing personal against Langer Rourke at all. I think some of their jobs are pretty impressive, and what they do is just, there just seems to be so many of them at the moment, and it's not just Lang's either. There's many of the tier ones, but there's so much going on. I've heard about multiple house bashing kind of companies as well, where there's been fatalities this year. I know Balfour's, we were working on their jobs this year, and they got shut down for 10 weeks due to a on-site fatality, and it's just shocking. The thing with it is, and what we're seeing now, I was just doing a little bit of homework on pretty much the Ridor side of things as well. And Ridor's alone was reported last year 45 fatal injuries. That's now up. We are up from that, I think, at the moment. 53,000 non-fatal injuries reported in 22 to 23. So the figures are rising from a fatality perspective. That is pretty much rising as well on the Ridor side of things as well. And so many construction workers now witnessing so many incidents on site that they won't be able to, or know how to deal with, shall we say. They don't know how to deal with this stuff. It's trauma. These young lads, older lads, ladies on site, people of all ages aren't expecting to go to work to witness what they witness in the most respectful way. The victims are the victims, and it's not pretty at all. And we really need to make sure that something gets put in place to support people going forward. And I don't mean that in terms of let's deal with people once the trauma happens. I mean, what is going on our construction sites day in, day out at the moment? What is preparing people for the likelihood of seeing an event that they don't want to see? I know in my 20 years of working across the industry, should we say, 18 years, that I've never been given any training with how I should be dealing with a fatality or a significant injury if I see one. Something traumatic that will play havoc with my head. No one on site's ever said to me about how I should deal with that. No one's educated me in a way that I should then know how to get through what could potentially manifest as post-traumatic stress. Speaking to someone yesterday, actually, we're catching up in the new year with regards to the military's way they've done it in the past in terms of dealing with, PTSD alone, but also dealing with trauma in the workplace, and obviously what we're seeing. It's quite horrific, the amount of times we're hearing these come through now. But on that as well, I was actually I had someone come to me last week, name popped up on Instagram, and then I took a little look at it, and then I realised I knew the guy, but there was a lad, I know a guy called James Gambrell. Anyone who knows me from my school days will also know James Gambrell was a great character in the years of growing up through school life. And last time I actually see him was probably outside the local kebab shop where we used to hang around on multiple occasions. I think that's actually been that long since, and that's probably 20 years ago that I last see him. But he's fallen 60 foot on a building site in February this year. I was only made aware of this in the last couple of weeks, but he fell 60 foot on a construction site. He's broken T12, L1 and L5 of his back. Broken ribs on the whole of his left-hand side. He's cracked his sternum. He's fractured his skull. Both his lungs collapsed. Ligament damage in his back. He was given 48 hours to live. He's got a beautiful family and a wife as well. And let's just put it this way, I don't think it's going to be any time soon, if ever again, if he's ever going to be on a building site. But what are we doing as an industry? How many people is this happening to? Because I say these people who I know now, and over the years, it's been kind of just hearing stuff through the grapevine. But we all know these people now, or people in a way know the kind of victims that are falling to the kind of the shortages in our industry. It's getting worse and worse year on year, week on week, month on month, day on day, shall we say? And I don't really feel there's anything being brought to the table as a way of dealing with this. We're seeing multiple research studies going out, just asking people how they feel about things and what's that actually secured. I'd put a post out this morning just saying that it's been 10 years of research now into just asking construction workers how they feel about things. But is it actually construction workers who are reporting back on this stuff? Are we getting in actual information? Are we getting research? Are we getting understanding of what an actual construction worker's going through? I don't think we are. I think we're completely missing the boat with it. I think the things that we're seeing and the research that's going in and the reports that come back from the different things I visit, exhibitions I've seen this year, everything comes back. It's just gone through chains of command from the very top of the biggest companies in the country. That information doesn't filter through from the bottom. The actual truth of it, I'm sorry, but it doesn't. If you want to know what's going on in the heads of the construction workers, get in amongst it, be part of what they're about. We do it ourselves all the time. We've got, obviously myself, and I've been on the tools a little bit the last few weeks. And some of you just see me covered in mud, but we just don't get the truth from the ground of this industry. And that's because it's going to affect corporate companies and big companies at the top who don't want too much truth to come out in a way, I think. And I don't mean that in a derogative way or trying to poke the fire. I'm just meaning there's so much going on at the bottom what's not reported, and it's dangerous. We will carry on reporting it. 2024 is going to be as big a year as ever. We've got a number of things in place now. What's very, very exciting for the new year. But if we can study the actual worker, the person who's on the ground in one way, shape or form, and do that across many of those people, we'll learn to actually understand the stresses that they're going through. By just coming out and going and say 10% of anxiety people suffer with anxiety, 10% of this, 10%. What's the percentages? Those can give you a small scale of people, but we've got 3-4 million people in this industry. Are we getting the truth? Are we doing enough? Clearly not. Fatalities are going up. Riddles are going up. Suicides are going up. Businesses are going bust. Well, I think I said this week as well, especially with regards to that Laing O'Rourke job. And obviously, Lang's put out £288 million losses this year. And let's say I'm not a QS, I'm not an accountant in any way, shape or form. But if I was working for a company tomorrow, knowing that they just reported those losses today, I'd be doing everything I'd done to make sure I get paid on time, because I'd be thinking it doesn't seem too safe being working here. Now, when people start thinking about, are they getting paid on time? Or they can put dinner on the table this week. And this isn't so much the individuals, because they are covered to a certain degree, but the businesses in there. But some of these businesses are run by families, many of them are. Those people have been thinking, right, we need to button down the hatches and make sure we get paid. And it's the way it is. And I know what it is. People worry about the money so much that the actual safety on site actually comes to a position where it starts to drop. And that does happen. I've been there. I've seen it. That's exactly when jobs start getting panicky and budgets start getting tight, people start cutting corners, then guess what? People get hurt, people get killed. It's quite easy, a knock-on effect of the stress of the job and the pressure at the very top to say to people, look, money's going disappearing, make it work. The people at the top look at figures all day long. We know that. They don't look at the truth on the ground. That's in the most respectful way. That's not really their job to do, as much morally it is, but from a business perspective, it's about the bottom line, isn't it? We hear. So are these people actually, by putting that pressure at that top, there's so many levels of management and hierarchy that are in a way thinking, we need to do what we do, just get through this. And then guess what? Bang, someone gets hurt, someone gets killed, someone gets left in a position where they'll never work again. But we'll go too much more. Just say Christmas is coming. It's a tough time, obviously, for a lot of people. To be honest, I cannot wait for it. It's just 10 days of kind of stand down. It's been a massively busy few months. And yeah, bring on the Christmas time. But there's a lot of families, and we know now there's a lot of people who aren't going to be around for Christmas because they've died on construction sites this year. I think a little bit let down on the award side of things, actually. I've been to a number of awards, especially over the last couple of weeks. There's no acknowledgement or even a moment of pause or a silence or a clap for the people who've actually died this year, or the amount of people we've done. I've not noticed it, just looking on Construction Inquirer, I think it was, just about people getting ready to report decent, profitable years and this and that. And I think, how can we look at the positives when so much is still going wrong? But hey, who am I to know why people think like that? But there's a family that does need supporting this year, and I know that from what I'm looking at right now. James Gamble's family. He's literally fell this year. Christmas will never be the same again for him like it was last year after falling 60 foot in March. We'll post a link out to his GoFundMe page. We'll be making a donation in the coming week over to them as well. But if you're going to donate towards a charity this Christmas, if you're going to do anything this Christmas as a business to say that we want to support a charity in any way, shape or form, please, there's many things out there, many different causes. But look at the link we're going to send across. It's got no direct link to us. It's directly linked to James and his family. These people need the money. They need the support. The bills don't stop because someone's been hurt. If anything, they just come in a lot quicker. So there's a lot of support they're going to need going forward. And if there's any way you or your organisation can pledge a little bit of support, whether it be £1, £2, £5, £10, 20, 50, £100 or more, I would be forever grateful. And on that note, Friday's coming, weekend's coming. Keep well, keep safe, and hopefully next week we can have a good, clear look, probably one of the last weeks before Christmas, we can look at some of the positives of what's come of this year and show how we, going forward into 2024, are going to make a lot more positives. And hopefully we won't have to keep them reporting on negative stuff that's happening. It's a crazy world and we don't want to see it anymore. Thank you, everyone who I've seen in the last week or two, and thank you all for your support. All the best.